Today's topic is exterminate your ants. Now, have you ever had days where you feel really crappy, stuck, you feel down, worried, and all your thoughts are the same? Negative. I have. Do you have times where you find yourself complaining about the little things in life? Or maybe you're just wishing things were better? Your brain might be infested with ants because your brain and your mind is a very, very powerful tool. It is there working for you or against you all day long. Thoughts are the primary way your mind communicates to you and the rest of the world. So how do your thoughts affect how you feel, what you do, and how your body reacts? Well, let me give you a little example. Well, I call this the thought, feeling, behavior, body response cycle. I know, not glamorous at all, but here's how this works. So you have this thought. Maybe your thought is, that's not fair. And then you have this feeling that is responding from that. You're upset, you're angry, you're irritated, frustrated, and your body responds a certain way to this thought. Your muscles get tense, your heart rate increases, your blood pressure increases, maybe you're breathing more shallow, more faster. And what do? What actions do you take? What's your behavior? You might yell out at somebody. You're going to maybe get really defensive. Maybe you have some choice words. You tell someone off. You're complaining. And this goes through again. That's not fair. You get upset, you get tense, and your heart rate increases, and you yell out or you complain, and it goes and goes. This cycle all starts with our thoughts. And it will continue. This cycle will continue until you change your thoughts, or you change your focus. Dr. Daniel Amen is a psychiatrist and an expert on the brain. He has a long, long history of researching how the brain works and has written numerous books, including Change Your Brain, Change Your Life, The Brain Warrior's Way, You, Happier, The End of Mental Illness, Your Brain is Always Listening, and a whole lot of others. So what does Dr. Daniel Amen say on thoughts? Well, he says that thoughts can drive your feelings. We just kind of went through that with the thought, feeling, behavior, body response cycle. But how you feel is often a result of your thoughts. Negative thoughts release chemicals in your body that make you feel negative or bad. Whereas positive thoughts release other chemicals, the feel-good chemicals that help you feel good. But thoughts can also be automatic. They just happen randomly. They just fly through your brain with no apparent reason. Have you ever been walking down a busy street and all of a sudden your brain says, that's an ugly shirt? And you spot somebody in that instance wearing a shirt you would probably never wear? Where did that thought come from? You weren't on a mission to locate the ugliest shirt on the street. This is an example of how your brain can fire thoughts automatically. But also, your thoughts can lie to you. Your thoughts are not always true. Just because you have a thought doesn't mean it's true. Just because today you had a thought that that shirt was really ugly doesn't mean that you will always think it's ugly. It might end up in your closet someday, a new trend. Remember, too, there are fiction and nonfiction books, books that are made up, not true, and books such as biographies that are true. Same with your thoughts. You have thoughts that are true, and you have thoughts that are not true. So if you don't question your thoughts to whether they are not absolutely 100% true, you will believe everything your mind tells you. And this can cause a lot of stress. Believing thoughts that are not true can make you sad, unhappy, depressed, anxious. You can cause issues in your relationships and even cause physical illness. Dr. Daniel Amen refers to negative thoughts as ants, automatic negative thoughts. The following are 9 of the most common ants that he says fuels anxiety, depression, negativity, failure, relationship problems, and other emotional distress. The first one is all or nothing. Either things are good or they're bad. It's thoughts like, nothing ever works out for me. Another ant is less than. You compare and you see yourself as less than others. I'm not smart. Another one is just the bad, seeing only the bad in situations. The whole world is a dangerous place. Well, if you listen to a lot of news, you might think so, but you see just the bad. Another is guilt bearing. If you use words like should, must, ought, or have to, it causes some guilt feelings. So I should call my parents more often. When we have those statements, it makes us kind of feel bad. Labeling is another ant, attaching a negative label to yourself or someone else. He's a jerk. I'm stupid. Another one is fortune telling, predicting the worst possible outcome for a situation with little or no evidence for it. So, I'm doomed to be single the rest of my life. You are telling the possible future without any evidence of it. Often there's evidence against it. Another ant is mind reading, believing you know what other people are thinking, even though they haven't told you. Guilty as charged numerous times a day. So things like thoughts like, my boss doesn't like me, my kids don't like me, my spouse doesn't like me, right? You are thinking you know what somebody else is thinking without them saying so. Another ant is if only, and I'll be happy when. This is when you argue with the past and long for the future. If only my parents had been rich, I would be in a different situation. I'll be happy when I lose 10 pounds. Kind of see how that works? The last ant is blaming, blaming someone or something else for your problems. It's the government's fault, it's the teacher's fault, the boss's fault that I'm in this situation. Blaming others doesn't solve anything. So, what is the first step to eliminate those ants in your head? Well, the first one is we have to recognize them. We have to be aware of them. We have to be aware that they're crawling around and infesting our brain with things that aren't true. So we need to identify them. When you say things like, oh, it's that person's fault that this happened, or I am so stupid that I am not going to be able to, do my work, my boss is going to fire me. When you have thoughts, just notice them. What kind of thoughts are they? What kind of ant is it? Whenever you feel sad, mad, nervous, frustrated, write down the thoughts you're having and then identify what type of ant they are. So I just went through 9 different types of ants. Which one does it belong to? Which ant is it? Then you can ask yourself 5 questions. And there's no right or wrong answers to these. So the first question is it true? If you don't know or think it might be true, continue on with the next questions. Is it absolutely with 100% certainty true? If you ask 100 people, will all 100 people say yes? Most often, no. How do you feel when you believe this thought? So if you have a thought that I'm not smart, how do you feel? How does that make you feel when you hear that? How would you feel if you didn't have this thought? If you couldn't even have this thought? If you never had the thought, I'm not smart enough, what would that feel like? And then turn that thought around to the exact opposite. And then ask if that opposite is of that thought is true, or if there's any evidence of truth to that opposite of the original thought. So if you originally thought, I am not smart enough, what is the opposite of that? The opposite is I am smart. Okay. So taking that, I am smart, what evidence says that is true? So look at your past, look at what you've done, like, oh, wow, you know, I, completed this project and man, I worked through that. Nobody else could figure that out. I did. Reflect on that. Meditate on the thought, I am smart. Is this true? Well, yeah, you've done it before. So let's use another example. An example of an ant would be, I should be the strong one, right? And this is the ant type guilt bearing because it has the should. Shoulding all over yourself causes guilt. So ask yourself the question, is it true? Well, in this moment, yes, I feel like it is true. Okay. Is it absolutely true with 100% certainty? No, because I can't do this all by myself. So whether you're trying to be strong because of some really stressful situation, or maybe a family member has passed away, or there's a job loss, is it absolutely true with 100% certainty that you should be the strong one? No, you can't do it all by yourself. So the next question, how do you feel when you believe this thought that I should be the strong one? You might feel defeated, depressed, overwhelmed. You might feel like running away. How would you feel if you couldn't have this thought? Oh, I could feel like a really good mother because I could ask for help when I need it, and I have that help around me. I have that support. It would feel so good to have a lot of support that we could bounce things off of each other. And if I'm having a down day, somebody else, my partner or a friend or family member, could help build me up. That would feel so good. So turn that thought around to its exact opposite. I don't have to be the only strong one. I can ask for help. So is there any evidence that this is true, that you can ask for help? Yes. I can ask my family, friends, they have offered to help numerous times. I can accept their help with gratitude. So then think about and meditate, reflect on, I can ask for help. Repeat that to yourself. This is a true statement. I can ask for help. And so I encourage you to extend this exercise that Dr. Daniel Amen has in some of his works a little bit further. So when you get to that thought that is positive and empowering, I can ask for help. Think more about it. How do you feel when you believe this thought? How do you feel? More empowered, more positive, that you can handle things? And what evidence says it is true? Just go back and extend that and just reflect on it even more. When has there been times that you have asked for help, you got it, it helped you out? When you can ask for help, do you feel more relieved, grateful, empowered, motivated, confident, supported? What evidence says this is true? Oh gosh, I can remember times when I've been so stressed with so many things to do, so much is happening. And I asked my mom, my friend, my neighbor, to help with the kids, like pick them up from school or take them to a practice. And they were happy to do it. And I was so, so grateful. It reduced my stress. I was less overwhelmed. I was able to get, more things done in a positive way. I had more energy because I didn't have to do it all myself. You see how this works? How our brain can shift from, I'm not supported. Nobody is there. I am the strong one. I am only the strong one. Can you see how it can shift to a little more positive? I can ask for help. And oh my gosh, how the relief, the positive feelings can overcome those negative thoughts. Doesn't it make you feel better just listening to that? Remember, your mind is a powerful tool. It is there working for you or against you all day long. We learn through repetition. Negative thinking is a habit, a bad, bad habit. Repetitive negative thoughts that you believe to be true when they're not do not help you, are not going to get you to feel good and go through that thought, feeling, behavior, and body response cycle coming out with a positive attitude. But positive thinking is also a habit that you can cultivate and grow. You can stop those ants, you can recognize them in a second, you can stop them, and you can change them into a positive and move forward. So I encourage you this week to write down your thoughts, both positive and negative. If they're negative, go through the questions and challenge your automatic negative thought. Turn it into a more positive statement, an empowering thought, and find evidence from your life that is empowering, that example is empowering to you, that positive thought is true. And do this often. Start a new habit of how quickly you can exterminate the ants in your head and turn them into positive thoughts. Remember, your mind is a powerful tool. You can eliminate and exterminate the ants in your head by taking time to review them, acknowledge that they're there, and turn them around into a more positive statement that is true. Thank you for joining me. See you next week.